But yeah, if we have to ride this one, 2 of us, that'd be easy.
Hello. So, this weekend, Tyson Fury won contentiously. I didn't watch the fight.
Oh, that's a bit of an understatement, isn't it, Tom?
I didn't watch all of it, man. I watched a little bit of it,
Oh,
but I didn't watch
come on, man. The whole thing, that's got to be a setup, man. Seriously.
So he won contentiously. Matthew Perry, Chandler, kicked the bucket this morning. Everyone's talking about that. Friends is trending here, there, and everywhere. I've got to say, I do like a bit of Friends. Christmas time, it's all right with a girlfriend. They seem to enjoy it. And of course, Spurs, top of the league. Another game, another victory. This time last week, we were coming out of the international break. It was like 2 big games in 4 days. 4 points would be decent. 6 points, top of the league. I think 2 points clear now. Still 2 points clear. It's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. Great days. Just me and Dan tonight. However, we've got Thiago, who could be on later. Jacob from the one up top. They both could be making an appearance in a little while. Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask, is anybody got, Dan, I was going to say, have you got anything to add to the Fury and Chandler thing? But you watched the fight and...
no, I only watched some of the fight. I mean, I ain't paying for that. And the stream I had it on was just being rocky as anything. And from what I saw of it, it was just... It's a setup, man, seriously. From what I saw of it, I think the whole thing's a setup. It's got to that point now where it's all about money. If he really wants to... I mean, I don't get why he don't fight Joshua. I mean, not that I think Joshua's that much good. He's got a glass jaw on him, the fella, but it's what everybody wants to see. So I don't get why the fella just don't do it.
It's going to be Usyk, isn't it? It's going to be Usyk. But it would have been nice. It would have been nice if they were like Fury had a big win going into it. You would have expected him to, but he's too busy with the fucking Netflix series and stuff. But I think now we're knuckled down. So Usyk Fury will be a big fight.
That is the fight everyone wants. But a few people still want to see him give Joshua a good kicking, because I never liked him as a boxer anyway, and he's got a glass jaw, like I said. So
I want to see
Dylan
Dylan White and Joshua, because I was watching the best pre-match arguments, pre and post match fights between boxers, and that was good. That was good when he threw the glass over Joshua. He threw the glass with Johnny Nelson sitting in the middle. That was funny. That was funny. So I'd like to see that again. But look, back to the football. Before we get going, please make sure you like, sub, all the normal stuff. We've got like 14 people in now. When we got less guests, we can get through the chat and we get a few more of the get talking, and we'll get a few more of the messages up. So first of all, of course, that Palace game. I always chuck the ratings up. I want to chuck the ratings up because I'm not ratings obsessed. I really am not. But I think I'm in the minority these days. I'm definitely in the minority, I'd say. So, and this is obviously good. You see the formation. You can see everyone that played the other night, just to remind you of the performance. And Dan, looking at these ratings and just the game in general, what did you make? What did you make of the performance? Did we deserve to win? Firstly, did we deserve the 3 points?
Yeah, we did. I mean, first half was sloppy as anything, and it's not that it didn't look like they can be bothered to play. It just looked like they was knackered, sluggish, sloppy. But Palace were making it hard for us. And one thing they definitely took advantage of was our left side, their right side. I mean, we had Davis on and we had Richarlison on, both on the left. So that's just a danger waiting to happen. I mean, if it weren't for Van der Ven saving Davis' arse about, 3 or 4 times I can count, we could have actually been in some serious trouble. Second half, I think after that first goal, we took total control of the game until the last 5 minutes, like usual, and then went a bit shady. They got their goal, which I still say that was an handball. If Romero's one was handball and Saliba's one the other day was handball, that was definitely a bloody handball. It came down on him, onto his hand, where he controlled it, and it fell nicely for him to bang it in the back of the net. So for me, that was handball. They just cannot seem to get that handball rule right. What is a handball? Is it ball to hand? Is it hand to ball? Is it where the person takes control? I just don't get the handball rule. They need to be more consistent with it. I don't think anyone does.
The issue is it's very inconsistent and subjective every time.
There is no consistency to it whatsoever. It's bollocks, mate. The whole thing of it is just bollocks. They just can't seem to get it right. There's no consistency with it. And from what I've been told by people, a handball is only intentionally when someone intentionally touches the ball with their hand. That makes no sense to me, because that means 99.9% of handballs ain't a handball. Because 99% of the time, I'd say the person don't intend to do it. So if that's the actual main rule of it, again, it makes no sense to me, mate.
If most defenders are coming at you these days, right, with their hands behind their back, you know they're not trying to gain an advantage with a handball, which tells you that they're not trying to hand the ball. They're not trying to handle the ball to get an advantage. But your hands swing here, there, and everywhere. It's it's a very, very difficult, especially when you've got you got a direct free kick or a corner, and you've got balls coming into the box, and you've got to use your arms to get you up in the air and stuff. And all the players have got to do the same. So it's extremely, extremely difficult. But it's a handball. That was a handball. To be fair, the more replays they showed, I was like, maybe it has hit the corner here. It's like, because they had a rule about the sleeves, didn't they? If it was
but it didn't just roll down his arm. It didn't just roll down his arm. He had his arm out. It came off his arm onto his flipping hand.
It come off to his forearm, didn't it? But I guess what they're saying is, if it comes off the top of the arm, and it's not in a spot or the shoulder, and it's not in a spot where they meant to do it, or it can be seen as handball, and then it hits him in the forearm, he had no control over it. Did he have control over the bottom half of his arm at the time?
But one of the rules also states, whether it's intentional or non-intentional, if the ball actually comes off the hand or the arm or below the arm and actually helps control the ball for him to have a shot and score, then it's a handball. So it's like what Lewis Case says here. Refs are a disgrace. I mean, these days, you'd have thought the VAR is meant to make life easier for the fellas and that, yeah? And it's almost made it harder for them. The refs just don't know whether they're coming or going. Like I said with the handball thing, it's just no consistency anymore. They don't know whether they're come or going. One ref will give this, I get it. Different eyes, different people. We all see football differently, yeah? You'll see things in a game that I won't. Others will see things in a game that others will. I'll see things that others don't. Refs see it slightly different as well. But they're meant to be trained up for this thing. They're meant to all know the rules. And there's just no consistency with it at all. Whether it comes to handballs, whether it comes to yellow cards, red cards, they just haven't got a clue. They really haven't. And it's just, we've got the biggest league in the world, hands down, by a million miles, yeah? You'd expect us to have the most professional and best referees.
Easily.
No, we haven't.
To be fair, it worked in our favour. It worked in our favour, of course, the whole Liverpool thing. But that was a joke. That was a complete and utter joke how they messed that up. That was
no, but do you know what, Tom? Seriously, with that Liverpool thing, it doesn't matter. Let them have the goal. We'd have still beat them 5-1 anyway, so it's neither here nor there to me.
You still got that bin dipper official. Use it every stream. We haven't got it today. But big up to the people in the chat. Look, we're gonna talk about Chelsea in a bit. Pochettino versus Ange coming up next Monday.
Hang on a sec, Tom. You mean that one?
But to actually think they were talking about this was going to be replayed is jokes. It was never in a billion years going to be seen as a replay. But I said at the time, this is going to put pressure on officials to give Liverpool decisions in their favour, and it did. They had decisions go in their favour since. So there's a fault to it. There is a fault to it even after the game. You know, you feel like you're old one. Liverpool felt like
the thing that's frustrating though is Liverpool give it all that, yeah, and they was well within their rights to be pissed off with that, yeah. But then it went in their favour against Everton, and they all shut up. Whereas 3 weeks earlier, they're all giving it all, not just for Liverpool, but we need to do it for the Premiership. We all need to work together when this goes wrong and everything. We all need to back each other up. It goes in their favour. And I think out of all the shows I've watched, I see 2 people actually stand there and say, yeah, we should be standing by Everton as well and make a big thing of this. Everyone else who supported it, not a noise out of them. Like what happened today with Man U, with the penalty. It's what happened with Wolves as well. It's just, if you're gonna go on about how we need to work together, it's not just we're complaining because it happened to us, whatever team it is, yeah? Then practice what you bloody preach. But they don't. They only get the ump when it goes against them. But when it goes in their favour, oh no, that's cool, it's all right. Shit happens, you know, just don't worry about it. But practice what you preach.
I'll tell you what, one of the first things I'll put up I always have a few notes up. You know, my memory's terrible, and it's only right that we stream, we have a few notes. One of the first things I was talking about was the hands. I wanted to mention the hands. And I'll tell you what, Vicario, another big save in the first half at 0-0. Do you know what? His save against Fulham last Monday that's got to be one of the saves of the season.
One of the saves of the season. Easy.
That was from Paulinho. Paulinho thought it was in. The whole ground thought it was in. He had to react so late. And
it was so close.
This was still a fantastic save against Palace. Still a fantastic save. But I think the guy's saving us points. At 0-0, he's saving us points.
I've said this to everybody, yeah? And a lot of people agree with me, and then you'll always get a couple that don't. But I'd say 80% agree with me on this. A good referee, that's referee in the back of the head. A good goalkeeper can get you up to 10 points a season. A very good goalkeeper. We've seen that with Man U in the years. We've seen that with Man City in the years. We've seen that with Liverpool. You even see it with Arsenal back in the day when they used to have a solid goalkeeper. You've seen it with many teams. When they got a solid goalkeeper, that can get you an extra 6 to 10 points a season, easy. And everyone, I've said this so many times, so many Spurs supporters, I'd say the majority, sadly, wanted Vicario to fail just so they could have a dig at Levy. Yeah? I said to everybody, watch this goalkeeper, he's going to be good. Lo and behold, first game bit shady. After that, he was all right. And then after that, he's been absolutely solid. He controls the defence. He talks to them. You can see when that man is pissed. which is good. He comes out, catches the ball quite happily from a cross or a corner, whatever. He's a good shot stopper. He's good at one-on-one. He's a solid keeper, and in my eyes, he's only going to get better. It wasn't just us after him. Inter Milan wanted him. AC Milan wanted him. Bayern Munich, Man U, Chelsea were looking at him.
When we was looking at him in the summer, as I said, I watch a lot of Serie A. I don't watch as much Serie A as I used to. I watch a lot of Serie A, so I can't say I saw Empoli play a great deal. I saw Empoli play maybe twice last season against Milan and Juventus because I followed the big teams. And he didn't really stand out. But I wasn't looking at him. I wasn't looking for him. It was only when he came to everyone's attention when people were saying, Buffon has recommended him. He's saying this could be a good. This guy's maybe a generational talent. This, that, and the other. I don't always believe what ex-players say. We've heard Xavi say that Winks are going to be the next Iniesta. Poch has said he's going to be the next. Winks are going to be the next Iniesta. We've heard this stuff before.
Was it Conte saying that Dyer's going to be world class?
Yeah, I can't remember that one. You mentioned that last time, but I can't remember. Maybe
it was. I'm pretty sure it was.
Maybe it was April Fools. I reckon that could have been April Fools. He put a tweet out April Fools, something like that.
Or was that a sarcastic dig at Levy sort of thing? Like, yeah,
I've
got a world class defender here, mate. Yeah.
Say what you want, but his last interview was brilliant. His last interview was absolutely brilliant. Say what you want, but I loved it. He put Levy in his place. And also, do you know what I want to say? I want to be honest because I'll try and be as honest as possible. Dan, when you said people want Vicario to foul so they can have a dig at Levy, do you know what? I'm in a place now where it's not why I want players to foul, but if they do foul, if I can use it as ammunition to have a go at Levy, I will because I want Levy out. So I really, really want Levy out. So even when it's say unfair on the owner, you could say he shouldn't really be getting that much stick for this situation because I've seen so much rubbish. 500 days without signing. I know we're not probably ever going to win a league title with him. We get an opportunity with someone else. So it's not. I don't like condemning a player before they've played. It was a risky signing, and so far he looks outstanding. Vicario. He was very dodgy in that first game against Brentford. I thought, here we go, another Golini. But no, ever since he's not put a foot wrong. The only issue,
he hasn't.
Well, I say that Fulham, he was a little bit on the ball. If he stays in his goal, like a Nick Pope, just a shot stopper. He's the best, one of the best in the Premier League. He needs to come out of his line, come off his line now and again. But if he's 50-50, just stay on your line because I don't think he's that comfortable doing that yet. Maybe down the years, he's a phenomenal shot stopper. And that's the most important thing as a goalkeeper. I don't care if it's 2023. You've got to save goals. Striker, you can be great at creating. You've got to score goals. That's
exactly.
Your job. So and he does his job.
He comes off his line all right and he passes all right. But when you've got it as your style is to basically pass it out from the back and pass it up, and your keeper's got to start it off, now and again, you're going to get the problem that the keeper makes the mistake on the pass because he's a goalkeeper for two reasons. Like he's a goalkeeper because he's best at being a goalkeeper, obviously, and he's obviously not playing up on the field because he's a good passer of the ball or whatever. You're going to get mistakes, and you see it with all of them. Alisson, Ederson. You see the pair of them do it now and again where their pass out is shady now and again. And then you see it with others like Raya, who just keeps, every time I see him play, he just keeps making the same mistakes. I mean, even though Arsenal slammed Sheffield like 5-0 the other day, but you will always get those mistakes off goalkeepers. You will always get that pass that comes out that's dodgy.
The thing with Ederson, what Alisson gives Liverpool, they actually give them assists. They're so good at kicking the ball. They are so brilliant at it that they do get assists or assist the assister. And I don't care if Vicario doesn't do that. I'm not worried if he gets assists right now. Just save the shots, man. And again, a great save against Palace. Unbelievable save against Fulham. I know I keep saying it,
it's
but that
good to have a solid goalkeeper again, yeah? I haven't felt solid, like safe, for about 4 years now, yeah? I've wanted Lores out for about 3 years. And don't get me wrong, on his day, yeah, he was a very good shot stopper. He was always very crap at coming out and catching the ball.
In his prime, he was very good. I mean, as you say, last 3 or 4 years, he struggled. But in his prime,
his main problem was the fella was too eccentric for a goalkeeper for me. Yeah, he was too rattled at times, and you need a goalkeeper to be as level-headed as they come. And I think that Vicario's got it. He's got his temper in the right place. I mean, as soon as it went in the back of the net, the scream he gave out, I think everybody heard it off the TV and at the ground. That's what you want. You want your goalkeeper to be a bit emotional when something like that happens. But when the shit hits the fan, you want him to be able to keep his head, keep his cool. He knows what he's doing. And this fella does. We have got a quality goalkeeper now who, on stats, even though I know a lot of people don't like stats, is at this moment in time the best goalkeeper in the Premiership. We know he's not the best overall. But at the moment, by the stats, he's the best out there at the minute. Same as Maddison's the best playmaker at the minute. He has done solid since he's been at Spurs.
Oh, absolutely.
That first
absolutely.
game.
We got to remember, it is just 10 games. It is 10 games.
But you can only go by what we played. And
you
look at it
you
this
can
way,
only go by what you played, but it's still very, very early days to be saying. You know,
he's one of the signings of the season already. I mean, signing of the season out of every team and every signing out there is Maddison. We all know that, yeah? People can run off at me about Declan Rice and everything and that. Epic player. And he has done brilliant at Arsenal. But they paid 100 million for him. Worth it or not, we shall see.
So do we have to rate new signings on how much they cost? Is that how we got to do it?
I don't think it's just that, but I actually think when you're going for signing of the season, the price you've paid does come into it as well. Yeah, if you've gone and paid 100 million for someone, you expect them to do £100 million job. It's what's expected. Whereas you go and pay 30 million for someone, and they play like Maddison has, when we all knew Maddison was quality anyway. I was screaming for him after his first season at Leicester. That is signing of the season, hands down. And then Vicario's got to come into it as well. So far, if you're going just by the 10 games so far, that's all I can do. And I don't think you're going to see him lose his bit either. What, 13 million altogether we paid for him? That's in the top 5 signings of the season for me as well.
Look, the only problem here, Dan, is look, we're top. So our players, you know, are going to be up there in terms of the players of the season so far in the first 10 games. We're top, so we've got some of the top players. The issue is we haven't played some of the big teams. And I mean, we played a lot of the bottom 5, bottom 4. I think we played all of the bottom 4 and played quite a lot of the lowerly position teams. And we're Spurs fans, so we're going to watch our team live. We're going to watch our team live more than any other team. So we don't watch every team. So it's very difficult. But looking at it, goalkeeper wise, who's making better saves? Who's creating better assists? Who is the better playmaker? You'd have to say it is Maddison and Vicario, even as a Spurs fan. But many neutral fans will not like it. They will not like it when we say it.
No, you see, I disagree with that, yeah. I mean, well, slightly disagree. I think you'll have a lot of neutral fans out there because there's a difference. You get the sort of football supporters who they support their club and anything that comes out of every other club but their own is crap. And then you have a more open-minded supporter like you, like me, like Stel, like Brian, like Haz, like a load of others who come on here as well. If you're good, you're good. You're bad, you're bad. It doesn't matter who you play for. If you're good, you're good. And that's all there is to it. I can't stand Arsenal with a passion and Saliba is quality. There you go. That's just someone being realistic with just looking at football. But some people just don't want to big up another team's player. Well, that's down to them at the end of the day. But you got to be realistic at times. When someone is doing epic, you got to say so. And Maddison at the moment, and at the end of the season, I'll bet a lot of money on it, is signing the season. Because if you look how much these 100 million players are and everything, £100 million. And Maddison was 30. By the end of the season, he keeps playing like this.
I think he will rise to like. Depends if you count the Winks thing. If you count
the reason I say yes,
if you count
he
the
was
Winks
40. He was 40 million we got him for, but we then got 10 mil back for Winks. So I class it as a 30 million transfer.
And I think there's a bonus in there if Leicester get back to the Premier League. If they make it back to the Premier League, they'll get £10 million or £10 million, something like that, in the first season. I heard something. So it's going to rise to 50, but still.
Okay, even if it's 50 million, that's still half for that. The way he's playing, by the end of the season, he keeps playing like this. It'll be worth 110 million all day long.
The thing is,
when you score goals and set up goals, you're worth more money.
The conversation is more relevant with Maddison. I think we can say that for almost definite. Vicario is unproven in this league. But Maddison, 3-4 years, highest goal contributions at Leicester the last 2 years, goals, assists. You can see that he is an outstanding player and £50 million,
He's
40,
shit
30,
up,
40,
mate.
50
He
million
always
pounds.
was.
Good money. It's very good money.
You're
But
not gonna
Dan, I
get a
just
much
want to
better
let's
player
have,
than
a
that.
look at these stats. Let's have a look at these stats, ratings,
on
whatever
then.
you want to call
Come
them,
on
because these ratings are created with 2 300 stats. This is from whoscored.com. You got Soper ratings. They use the same system. So it's 2 300 stats that people use. I'm not big on it. I'm definitely not big on it. And I looked at Fulham's game and they were well out of sync. You know, Song got 8.9, this, that, and the other. I don't think these ones are too bad. I don't think this is too bad. I mean, there's not too much you can disagree with there, really, is there?
Yeah, there is.
Who would
Sure,
you
there
say?
is, mate. Sure, there is. I mean, goalkeeper for me goes 7.5 because he basically saved the game, saved our ass again. Now, Porro 6.5. I'll give it that one. Yeah, he had a shady game. How the hell is Ben Davies on a 6.6 when he got taken off at half time to put bloody Chicken Royale there? Yeah, that ain't right. That ain't right. Yeah. So these stats things, I dig a lot of them and that, but whoever does this one, they probably got Mickey Mouse sitting next to him. I don't know. Yeah. But how Ben Davies can get a 6.6 and get taken off at half time for Chicken Royale, who don't even play on the bloody left, I'm oblivious to it. Van der Ven, for me, he was man of the match. For me, he was an 8. And the reason I'll give him an 8 is because about 4 times I could count that the ball came over from the left hand side, went straight over Davies. He just looked up and just, oh shit. And then from the halfway line nearly, Van der Ven, being as quick as he is, I mean, he's as quick as any striker out there, straight past it, overtook it, and saved his bacon. 4 times I saw
He is
that.
rapid. He is a different breed of
He's
speed.
fast. I mean, he is fast. So for me,
I mean, it's got to be.
should have been.
I mean, again, we're looking at it from a Spurs basis, but it's got to be the fastest centre back
No,
we've ever
this
seen
is
in the Premier League.
realistic. Again,
Who's
I
a
can't
faster
think of
Premier
any.
League than him we've seen in the Premier League era? I can't.
The only one I could match to him, and I wouldn't necessarily say now because I think he's lost half a yard of pace, but he's still lightning quick. He's Kyle Walker. Yeah, I mean, for me, Kyle Walker's the best right back the Premiership's ever seen. I mean, can you imagine him playing
I mean,
on the right?
right back, fair enough, Dan, right back, but centre back.
But he's still a defender. He plays centre back as well, doesn't he? He does play centre back in a back three as well.
I suppose, yeah, he does play centre back.
So our class left back, right back, centre back, always defence. Yeah, wing backs slightly different. But if you're going by left back, right back, and centre backs, I can't really think of a faster centre back that the Premiership has ever seen. I honestly can't.
Actual centre.
If someone can, please tell me.
I don't think there is. Honestly, I don't think there is.
I don't think there has been. I don't think there actually has been because that man is more than quick. He's more than quicker than most of the strikers, for God's sake.
He is rapid. I don't like how he's out of position sometimes, but you've got to keep looking at it. If you've got Romero covering you, on top form, and you've got the pace to go back in, if Romero doesn't cover you, you know, it's okay. We're actually looking okay. It's not a traditional way of defending. It really isn't. But this is 2023. Things are changing, and he is very much a modern centre back. He's outstanding on the ball as well. I've noticed when we struggle in the centre of midfield against Luton, he was probably our best player. Honestly, consistently against Luton, he was coming out into midfield, rolling that ball around. And the thing is, he's got so much time on the ball because he's so quick. He's so quick that he's got space. He's always got loads of space to pass the ball. So the speed helps him.
Of course it does.
Helps him in so many ways.
Yeah, but it saves him as well. Against Liverpool, I thought he had a shady game. Why? Because he got caught about 4 or 5 times, if not 6 times, with the ball going clean over his head and Salah legging it up the side of him. Now, if Salah hadn't lost a yard of pace and this fella weren't so quick, that could have cost us up to 3 goals, most probably. But then everyone will tell me that because he is that quick, he can go that far forward. I'll have to agree with it. But I still don't like the fact that he gets caught out of position a bit. But if he's got the pace to make it up and he makes it up, you can't really complain, can you? But again, I'd love someone to tell me because I'd love to learn. I honestly cannot think of a quicker centre-back that has ever been in the Premiership. Ever.
I don't know. Micah Richards was quick back in the day, but...
but there's quick... There's someone who can get... The way I look on it, yeah? It's like some strikers. Overall, they ain't that fast. But they get to their top speed quickly. Whereas this fella, he gets to his top speed quickly, and then also his top pace, he's fast as well. His sprint is solid. Like I said, I cannot think of a quicker centre-back there has been.
And to be honest, I think it was his third game against Fulham in the Carabao Cup. Romero was rested. He was one of the only 11. I think, no, there was 2 players because we changed 9, didn't he, Ange? And Van der Ven was one of the only players that started. He started every game this season. And he kept up with Adama Traore. He wasn't good in that game. That was one of his worst performances. But Adama Traore is the most explosive winger in this league, and he has been for a while. And he kept up with him. He beat him. He beat him with the ball behind him. And you look at that and you think, Jesus Christ, this guy's serious. And it's only.
I mean, can you imagine him as a striker? I mean, he's quicker than Son all day long, and I think he's quicker than Son when Son was at his peak, because I think Son's lost half a yard of pace. I ain't saying he ain't fast, but I think he's lost a little bit of pace, same as Salah and others. Age does catch up with her. But again, there's been fast defenders in there, like the Felier, Lewis Kay says. Yeah, he was rapid as well. He's fast, but I don't think he's as quick as Van der Ven. Honestly, can you imagine that man on the wing coming at you? If he could cross and pass a ball, you'd be mortified with that running towards you. You'd be terrified. He's so fast.
A couple of chats I want to bring up that I saw earlier. I've starred them. It's Daryl Denton saying, "Fuck Fury wins Muppet of the Week, hands down. Muppet of the Week will be coming Tuesday. Don't worry. Might have to put him in there." What's the WTP? But Liverpool had a bad decision go for him the game after. They were hard done by against us. It all evens itself out at the end of the day. Bang on. That's why I always say I don't complain when Spurs get bad decisions or good decisions. At the time, obviously, I'm emotional. Ref, what the fuck are you doing? But post-game, I don't look at, it's a narrative against Spurs. Why is there a narrative against Spurs? We don't win anything. We don't intimidate teams. There's no narrative against Spurs. But it does. It evens itself out over a season. That's how I feel. Maybe it doesn't.
You see with the intimidation thing, yeah? I mean, I've said it on one of the shows before, like when me, you, Stel was having a chat about it. I don't think we're intimidating to teams, like as in they're scared of us or whatever. I think teams at this moment in time are confused about us, because we are going to be a very, very, very hard team to suss out. A lot of teams, you can stand there, you can watch them, you know how they play. Right, okay, we know Ange's style, but you never know what left back's going to be up in the middle. You never know what centre back's going to be up in the middle. You don't know what midfielder's going to be in defence. You don't know what right back's going to be up on the wing, or like Romero being up there to pass the ball through and Kulusevski screw it up and that. You just don't really know what's coming at you. You can't. We're going to be a very hard team to suss out. Very, very hard team. Because when you know who's coming towards you, you know how great they are, whatever else, you know what you're looking for. But when all of a sudden Romero appears out of nowhere, or Van der Ven or Porro appears in the centre mid, it's going to be confusing for a lot of teams. And I do think this is what he's going to give a lot of teams a lot of hassle with us.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fucking lump as well. He is massive. He's 6'4". He should be good in the air. The word on the street is that he's not very good in the air from the Bundesliga fans, but
that's meant to be his weakest bit. That's meant to be the man's weakest bit.
But there you go.
Is that weird, or are you just being stereotypical? Seriously, serious question, Tom. Is that weird, or are we just being stereotypical there? Because think of Peter Crouch. He couldn't head for shit.
It wasn't great in the air, was he? Not for someone that was 6'9". No, but a centre back. If I'm giving you three traits for a centre back, it's got to be marking, positioning, heading, tackling. But now it seems to be what you can do on the ball, and now Van der Ven pace. It's never, of course, it's good to have pace in every position, but it's not something that was always absolutely key. I mean, some of the best centre backs in the world were fucking slow as anything. Look at it.
John Terry weren't quick.
Yeah, the great Italian centre backs that retired not long ago. Well, Bonucci's still playing. Bonucci and Chiellini. Chiellini was slow as anything, but the guy was smart.
He still is.
And he positioned himself perfectly. So you don't need to have pace. You need to have smart.
John Terry weren't quick, but he could read that game coming.
The fact that we've talked 20 minutes on Van der Ven's pace goes to show how quick the boy is. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
We're all shocked. But yeah, finally, what about your boy? Look, my views are that it was pretty. I think the ratings were pretty apt. apt. They're pretty on point. But to be fair, when the overall performance is 6 or 7 out of 10, it's quite easy to get it right,
Look,
isn't it?
another one out of this.
Or sevens.
That was probably Basuma's one of his worst games he's had for us. I agree with what a few people have said on other sites and that he came out sort of like kept it a bit slow and everything because he didn't want to get the yellow card and obviously be off for the Chelsea game. Again, I'd have still said we shouldn't have played him, but it came away. He was not a 7.1. Sarr was better than a 6.7. Kulusevski, I'll give it that. How can you give Richarlison a 6.6 and Maddison a 6.7? Now, I'll say that wasn't one of Maddison's best games either, but he still played well in the game. Richarlison, for me, he was lucky. All right, first half, I can picture 2 good passes he done. After that, how does he even get a 6.6? He shouldn't even get a 6. And Son, yeah, I'd say that's about right for him, especially down to the amount of ground he covered. But Richarlison and Davis, that's just a lie. That is a simple lie.
Look at that statistic down there. Bentancur 5.9 when he come on. I know he come on as a sub, but bloody, I think he done okay. I thought he done all right when he come on.
It was only 5 minutes though, wasn't it? Come on,
this is the problem.
5-6 minutes.
I don't know how they
do in that time except score. What can you really do in that time?
Honestly, don't know how they come up with these stats sometimes. I just don't. I really, really don't. But Brennan Johnson, the second goal was absolutely fantastic. Top class. Top.
He looked solid since he looked solid when he came on. He really did.
To be fair, that was easily his best performance. He looked really nervous in certain games. Really, really nervous. A little bit like a little bit nervous here and there, but it's understandable. The guy's only 22 years old. But yeah, the rating's I'd say pretty much on point, but it's quite easy to get him right. Bissouma, do you know what, Bissouma? It's in the first half. I've noticed quite a few first halves of games. He's struggled against Arsenal, Luton, obviously, because he got sent off a little bit. First 4 or 5 games, he was spectacular on all fronts. Him and Maddison were our best players, no doubt. Maybe Chuck Romero in there as well. But first half in games, him and Udogie, they seem to struggle in the same games, which is weird because I suppose they both play on the left side. Bissouma the left side is centre midfield. But second half, they come alive. Like Udogie comes alive when he gets a yellow card. Like whenever he gets a yellow card, he just turns into an absolute
When he gets that yellow card, he just sort of.
They both love a yellow card as well, don't they? They both love a yellow card.
It's like he switches on, basically. He now knows he's got the yellow card. And it's not that just he doesn't just play safe. He still goes in for it. And he seems to even go in for it even more. He just does it, I don't know, a bit more sensible. It's like a yellow card sort of gives him that switch to go for it. It's just weird. It is weird with him. Because as soon as he does get the yellow card, he does seem to step it up a gear. And a lot of players would actually slow it down a little bit when they got the yellow card, wouldn't they? But I think Udogie's been solid all season.
I think we saw that. Having taken Ben Davis off at half time and putting, as you said, Chicken Royale at left back, I think he performed okay there, but it's a disaster.
You see, when Royale came on, he weren't that bad. Yeah, he really weren't. And he actually made our left side look better because he's got a bit of pace on him. And that was about it. Whereas Davis, he might as well. Again, he was absolutely awful.
Honestly, I can't remember him doing anything. I just can't remember him even touching the ball in the first half. And we know the way Ange plays. We need to see something going forward in his fullbacks, and there's very, very little. Davis's legs were gone 2 years ago at left back. He was very fortunate Conte took over because there's no future for him at left back. We played with left wing backs then, and left centre back was okay because he played there for a while. So he's acceptable at left centre back, but not left back. And I tell you something else. Some people were saying, "Oh, Dyer, we sold Sanchez. If one of our centre backs gets injured, Van der Ven or Romero, Davis will come in at centre back. No chance. That cannot be an option. Not with 2 centre backs.
Is it a worse option than Dyer?
No, because I hate Dyer more than anyone, any human being on the planet.
Exactly. So
any human being on the planet.
Don't. Out of pair of them, I'd give that Ashley. I'd stick him on, stick him on. And if the thing is, if he sticks him on, and he has a bit of a tits up game and everything and that, I don't think Ange get no stick for it, and nor will he. It'd be like, right, that's his first Premiership game, all right, it went tits up. But I think Ange would also get the respect for putting him on and not just going to Dyer. Because if Dyer came on and then had a dodgy game, it'd be like, well, Dyer's going to copy it anyway. And then Ange would cop it in the aspect of, why didn't you just give the young fella a go when you know how shit Eric Dyer is? So that's why I reckon that Ashley would get a go. And you know what? Like I said, if his game goes tits up for him and that, then fair enough. It's his first Premiership game. We can handle that and whatever. But Eric Dyer, do you know what? He could come on and play 5 world-class games and I still want him out. He's poor.
He's useless. I've definitely got an agenda against him. I don't give a shit if people say I've got an agenda. I do have an agenda against him. I want him out. I've got an agenda against Emerson Royal because he's shit. The guy's got 3 assists in 3 years. With Son and Kane in front of him, and I want Levy out because we've won 1 trophy in 46 transfer windows.
What is it now?
You know what? People say I have an agenda. Yeah, I have an agenda. I admit I've got an agenda.
I don't think it's that. I just think you're diaphobic, mate. Then they can call me regardless of phobic.
But you know what? I'll miss him. If he goes, I'll miss not having someone to just completely dig out every single week because I just can't stand the man. And that's
don't worry, Levy's going to be there.
The biggest point I can give to Ange this season is the minute he dropped Dyer in the first game, not even giving him minutes.
You felt like clapping, wasn't it? Like, well done, mate. First job done. Well done.
That's it for me. I'm pleased. Yep. I'm pleased. You can finish 10th. You can finish 10th as long as he drops Dyer. I'm not that pissed off. And
exactly.
We're sitting top of the table. We're absolutely smashing it. You won't see Davis in a Spurs shirt again. Sean Moran says this.
I think you might.
I don't know. I hope not. I bloody hope not.
No, so do I. But at the moment, you might well do. The one who I don't think you're going to see it in there is Dyer. I genuinely do not believe you're going to see him on there. But Davis, I reckon you might see him have to come on as a left back again if Udogie does get injured. Or he might have just realised how done and dusted Davis is and stick Chicken Royale in there.
I think not Romero or Van der Ven will pick up an injury, maybe both. And it's not hard to see why. Van der Ven almost done his hamstring the other week. Look how quick he is. He's going to get he's going to do his hamstring.
It's going to happen, isn't it?
You'd imagine. And that's very nearly what he done in his 3rd game. Romero he's out for 2 or 3 months. For Conte's first season, he only played 17 games or something. 17, 18 league starts. 18 league starts in his first season. Missed loads of games last year in and around the World Cup as well. And I'll tell you what, we're getting into the Muppet situation quite a lot. Muppet of the month should be the England cricket team. I agree, Jay Ashraf. I'm a big cricket fan. And it's absolutely...
I don't like cricket.
Shoddy, what's happening down there, shoddy. Right, let's move on. No, do you know what? One more thing on the Palace game. One more thing. 2-1 up. I could see the stands. I wasn't with any Spurs fans watching, but I could see the away end. I could see the bench. 2-1. They were worried. We were worried. We were like, we're going to drop points here. Dan, in that situation, people in the chat, did you think, hand on heart, honestly, people in the chat, did you think we're going to drop points here?
Right. 2-1 was my prediction anyway. Yeah. But again, the way it happened was very Spursy. Totally clear, totally walking it. All of a sudden, one goes in. And on the pitch, it did look a little bit rattled. I'm not saying that obviously they didn't lose control like we would have. I mean, do you know what? Put that back last season, we'd have probably lost it 3-2 from there. But they kept their shit together, and it was a bit nervous when it went 2-1 because when we see Spurs going back and sitting back, straight away you look over your shoulder, and then that imagination comes into your head. That memory, Conte. Mourinho times. We're sitting back now. The more you sit back and the more shots you let them have, sooner or later one of them's going to hit the keeper or one of them's going to hit the back of the net. You're giving them chances. But I reckon we stood it more than good enough and we deserved the win out of it. But when it went 2-1, I must admit I got a bit nervous and needed some comfort and Coke afterwards.
Jim Beam and Coke. That's the go-to drink. Anyway, right. But I tell you what, we haven't really talked about Palace, and fair play to Palace. When I done a preview the other day, short preview the other day, or Friday lunchtime on the show, just myself. Obviously, the game was coming up that night. It was clear Eze wasn't going to start. It was clear Elise wasn't going to start. So the attacking options were very, very limited. But I have to say, I thought they were fantastic. I thought they were really, really good. I thought Ayew was really good. I think he got man of the match. I thought they played really well considering the lack of attack they had. So I think we've done extremely well. A lot of people said it in the chat already. We've done extremely well to just hold on for another 3 points. And I tell you what, when they scored that goal, they were up for it all game, Palace. They were working hard, but when they scored that goal, they had 4 or 5 minutes left stoppage time, and I'm thinking, well, they might just squeeze one. I've seen
it happens, doesn't it?
poor refereeing decisions lead to that situation, and they missed.
It changes the momentum.
It
changes the momentum, innit? Yes, they did at the end. I can't remember who done it, but it came down to him to have a clear shot, and he basically sliced it off to the left. But even with only 5 minutes to go or 2 minutes to go, you change that momentum, anything can happen. Because now it's like, yeah, we're only one behind, stuff it. Well, even their goalkeeper came out for it for a corner, didn't he? And then we managed to clear it and nearly got up there for it. But even their goalkeeper came out for it because they had nothing to lose. And yeah, as a Spurs supporter, anyone who's older than 15, 20 maybe, you're going to be looking over your shoulder all the time, no matter what happens, for a very long time. Even if we went and won the league this year, the next year, you're still going to look over your shoulder now and again, just waiting for that Spurs moment to happen. Call it as negative as you want. No, it's just being realistic. We've just been that Spursy for so many years now that you're still almost just waiting for it to happen. Where's it going to go wrong? When's it going to go wrong?
We've got to be honest. This is why, many Spurs fans with brains will not admit or come to the conclusion that we're in a title race, because this was close. This was tight. Sheffield United, 2 goals in injury time. We were 1-0 down and they just getting battered by everyone. Luton was 1-0. Liverpool was dodgy. Arsenal, we drew. Man United, we deserved to beat Man United, but we were shocking in the first half. So I feel like we've had luck. We've had luck on our side in terms of other teams not taking their chances, but also Vicario being very good at stopping their chances.
Yeah, but we've also made our luck as well. Again, I used to go against Liverpool as an example here, yeah? Everyone's saying, yeah, it was 9 men, this and that. Now, is it easier to play against 9 men than 11? You'd think so. But when you got 9 men sitting in front of the goal, it's not easy, yeah? And the reason we won it with an own goal. Okay, why did we win it with our own goal? Because we put so much pressure on them in the end, and because Ange had a bright idea. Oi, Kulusevski, over here. Stay back, pass the ball through to Porro, because he can cross it better. Lo and behold, he gets it, puts it straight to Porro. Porro goes forward, bangs in a nice cross, keeps it low, driven cross. It's going to hit someone and go somewhere. That's why I like those sort of crosses coming in. And it went in the back of the goal. Why? That wasn't just pure luck. That was because we put pressure on them. If you wouldn't have gone and put the pressure and put the crosses in, they wouldn't have sliced it in the back of their net. So, yeah, call it an own goal, but only because we put the pressure in them and put them in that position to score the own goal. Exactly. So sometimes you make your own luck.
Oh, exactly. Very, very much so. So I mean, looking at these fixtures, I want to talk Chelsea in a second. At home to Brentford, 2-0.
Yeah.
We've got them next Monday. Bournemouth beat Burnley. Arsenal absolutely destroyed Sheffield United, which surprised me the most is Nketiah. But let's not go crazy because it's Sheffield United. Wolves 2, Newcastle 2. I think most would agree that it was unlucky. Wolves should have got the 3 points there. West Ham 0, Everton 1. That makes me very, very happy. I hate West Ham fans more than I hate most fans, but that's just because my West Ham mates are twats, basically. Completely biased. Good boys, but completely biased. So I hate West Ham fans the most. So losing at home to Everton delights me. Liverpool 3, Forest 0. You would expect that. Villa 3, Luton 1, Brighton 1, Fulham 1. Look, Brighton not doing great this season. They're not doing fantastic. That's why I said
they ain't looking as solid as they were last season at all, are they? I mean, they did lose a couple of their top players. And they still look good, but they ain't looking nowhere near as good as they did last season.
Where are they now? Let's have a look. I think we might be able to get it right down the bottom there.
I think about 7th.
They're 7th. They're there. They're there or thereabouts.
Yeah, but they're still not looking like they did last season.
We haven't really played the team. We haven't played the Man Cities, the Villas, the Newcastles, the Brightons.
Okay. But we've played Man U, Liverpool, and Arsenal. And okay, Man U are absolute shambles this year. But at the end of the day, Man U's still Man U. And last season, they was more than respectable. And second half, we scored them basically. First half, we were lucky. That is where we were lucky that we weren't 2-0 down. But we stepped it up a gear in the second half, and they couldn't do it. So that was one where we had a bit of luck, and then totally took control of the game. But Man U are considered a big club. Arsenal.
It's always great to be Man United. Our recent record against Man United is absolutely shocking.
Same as it is against Liverpool and Chelsea. But Arsenal, we went to Arsenal and we took it to them and played them at their own game. There's not many that can get away with that. And one thing Arsenal don't like is being played, having pressure on them. They're used to having control of the ball. Even when they was finishing 8th and that, they still like to always try and keep control of the ball and play it like that. That's why teams were walking all over them, because they was putting the pressure on them. Arsenal have now become good enough to keep control of it and basically attack. They don't like it when it's done to them. And that's exactly what we did to them on their own turf.
Right.
Could we have got a win out of it? Maybe. It's all ifs, buts, and maybes. But we walked out of there with a draw. I can't complain with that at the Emirates. And then Liverpool, all right, some say luck went our way. It was because of this, because of that. It was only because this happened and that. Do you know what? At the end of the day, 3 points, score, mate, walk off. We won.
Right. We don't have to talk about this, but I want to talk about this. Harry Kane.
It needs to get mentioned. It needs to get mentioned.
It's the Beckham goal, isn't it? It's the Beckham goal against Wimbledon.
It was better than that.
Mid-90s. Hat-trick. I mean, it's talking
Mate,
about
it was
stats.
intended.
There's only one stat that really matters for goal scorers, and that's goals. 12 goals in 9 Bundesliga games. Also 3 in the Champions League in 2 games. 7 assists in those games. Are you surprised just at how incredible Kane started things off? Because it is an incredible start.
No, not at all. Look, the thing I'll definitely say there is he definitely made a smart move, yeah? Right, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to give a quick run through of how I see it, yeah? There's certain levels that you respect a player on. Now, nobody who's got half a Scooby-Doo about football can sit here and not say Kane has not been one of the greatest, one of the best strikers the Premiership have ever seen. Complete-wise, he is the most complete striker on the planet as we speak. And what I mean by complete is he can do everything. He can even defend, for God's sake, you know? He can score head, he can score left, he can score right, in the box, out the box, tap it in. And he's passed in over the past 2 years at Spurs. I only saw it second to Kevin De Bruyne. Honestly, the amount of times he set Son up. He had to get up there with Sergio Aguero, Drogba, I don't know, Van Nistelrooy, all the other ones and that. He's got to win something, and not just an FA Cup. And really, it doesn't matter where he wins it, as long as he wins a league. I think he made the smart move going Bayern Munich, and you know my opinion on it. I'm glad he did go for his sake and for Spurs' sake, but that's a different one, yeah? And for me, to sit on the top, you've got to have won something. All right, as a player, he's won it all, but with a club, he's won absolutely jack shit. So he just can't sit up there with the rest. And I'll go to my other bit quick. This is how I look at clubs as well. To be considered one of the greatest clubs of all times, of your era, whatever else, you've got to have done it all. I.e., Man U, Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Juventus, Inter, AC, Ajax, Dortmund, Munich. The list goes on, yeah? They've won it all. And up until last season, I wouldn't have said City was up with that lot. But they did it. They won the Champions League. They've won it all. This is, for me, not just being a Spurs fan, but just looking at football the way I do, is why Arsenal has to sit on the little old table with us. Because Arsenal haven't actually won anything that we haven't. Arsenal actually have a worse record in Europe than us. They've just won more of what we've won. They have not won that Champions League the same as all the big boys have. So they have to sit. I mean, even Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest have done it back in the day when it was the Champions Cup or whatever else they called it. But until they win that Champions League, they will never, ever get classed by me, and I think a lot of other people, as a Man City, as a Man U, as a Chelsea, as a Liverpool, as an Ajax, as an Inter Milan. Like I said, I mean, that season they done when Invincibles and that, take me out of credit where it's due. But at the end of the day,
What
they still haven't
people
won that
forget,
Champions
that
League.
season they drew a lot of games. They drew 11,
Yeah.
12 games. Don't get me wrong, it's
Yeah.
invincible. They're still invincible, but they drew fucking 12
It was
games.
brilliant. But they still have not won that Champions League. And the one that does make me laugh when it comes to them is they had the most consistent in the Champions League. I think it was between 22 and 24 on the trot. And they only managed to do once what little old Spurs done in, what was it, our 6th attempt? And that's get to one final. So for me, whether you like it or not, Arsenal are a massive club. They're a great club and they've done tenfold more than we have with the amount they've won. But they haven't won anything we haven't, just more of it. And they haven't won the Champions League. So they can't go up there with the big boys. And that is basically what I'm saying with Kane. Until he wins that league somewhere, or a Champions League or whatever, he can't sit up there with the big boys.
I think they've got every chance. Bayern Munich, they won a Champions League 3 years ago. I think it was during COVID, but still, it doesn't fucking matter. They've got the players to do it. They really do have the players to do it. And I've got to look at the Bundesliga. I don't watch the Bundesliga a great deal, but if you know, it is a relatively strong league. I mean, you've got Leipzig producing so many good players. Leverkusen have got outstanding players. Dortmund, Bellingham is probably the best cam in the world. Haaland's probably the best striker in the world, or one of two. So they're producing the best players in the world in the Bundesliga.
Dortmund have always produced, though, haven't they? They do produce. And Leverkusen have only just come good again. They was good about 7 years ago, and they're over the past few years they've been shady, but they got their shit together.
Yeah, Xabi Alonso's in charge there, isn't he? They've got Hincapie, Tapsoba, Jonathan Tah, centre back. They've got some good players.
And Bayern Munich, the only thing they missed last season was a striker, and that was why they drew a few games, because they did not have that man to finish it off. And now they have. For me, Bayern Munich, they're going to walk that league in the end anyway. Whether they're not at the top at the moment, don't come into it. They'll just walk all over it in the end. And for me, I'd say they are my second favourites for the Champions League. Man City are my favourites, and I'd say Bayern Munich are my second favourites. But now they've got a striker.
It's like, why are you supporting Kane, Tommy? Why are you supporting Kane? He's different to anyone I've ever seen. But he's different to anyone. I actually want him to win things. He's probably the only player that
I do.
That I want him to. If I was at Hotspur Way, and it was his last training session there, I'll be applauding. If I was there, I'll be applauding him. If I know a few people did. I would applaud him because the guy's just what he's done for us. Is incredible. And you can see it's not a fluke, does it for England, and he started off unbelievably for Bayern Munich.
And for his sake, and again, I still think it helped the club as a whole that he left. But for his sake, he needs to go and win something.
It's suited everyone's right now. Everyone's a winner. Bayern Munich are a winner.
Yep.
Kane's a winner, and Spurs are a winner because currently we're 10th. We're sitting top of the table. Now. That brings me to my next point. Well, actually, look, thinking about it, Mane went there last. Not everyone goes there that's brilliant in the Premier League and produces. He was shocking, Mane.
They tried playing him as a striker though most of the time, and that just didn't go down very well. But yeah, and then what was it? Who was it? He went toe to toe with? Was it Ganari or whatever? That they actually had a punch up like proper full guns blazing sort of thing. He actually went toe to toe with one of them.
Oh I remember. I heard about that.
Yeah, and it just didn't go right for him there. But they was looking for a striker then, and they couldn't get one. The strikers at the moment are probably the hardest thing in the world to get. Whereas if you go back 6 years, I'd say 5 years, 6 years, there was plenty of strikers about. But the thing you couldn't find was a decent defender. And it's now changed again that there is defenders out there to get. But how many world-class strikers can you actually name at this moment in time? World-class strikers.
There's probably 3.
Haaland,
Kane. I'd say Osherman. 3 years he's been world class. I think maybe if you give him another year, for me you've got to have 4 years, like sort of 4 years world class. So Osherman
got to have that bit of consistency.
Year and a half. But Osherman, mate, no defender wants to come up against Osherman. In this area, defenders don't even jump against Osherman. He's so good in the air and he's so strong. They don't even bother jumping. So Osherman's the next big one, I think.
I've seen him score it.
Mbappe, obviously.
Yeah. But he plays more on the left than as a striker, doesn't he?
He's not an out-and-out striker, definitely. He's definitely not an out-and-out striker, is he?
But you could easily put him as a striker and do the same job as Haaland, basically. But like I said, there really isn't many strikers out there. There really isn't. And I think we have done the smartest thing, which I have said from day one, sticks on in the middle. He's got exactly what a striker needs, and I think he's finished on the left. Lo and behold, we actually go and stick him in the middle after a couple of games where it just didn't go too right. And what is it? 8 goals, 10 games? I ain't complaining.
Right. We're an hour in, exactly an hour into the show. We've got 21 people watching. I want to thank everyone that's been watching so far. We're on 27 likes, which is fantastic because I don't think we've had 27 people watching at any point. So there are certainly people coming in and out. So if you've been in and out and you haven't yet hit that like or you haven't subbed, please make sure you do. It's completely free and it keeps the channel rolling. We'll do more streams. The more likes, the more subs. We feel like we're doing a good job. So we'll keep rolling out the content. I've seen a few ladies in the chat today. Mia was in earlier. She does a lot of stuff with Dan.
No, big up Mia. She always does some work with me.
I think Mia and Dan have done quite a lot of streams together. Mia's, of course, got her own channel as well. So big up.
And just one thing for Mia quick. Mia always does her show at 10 o'clock in the morning. So everyone go over and watch that because she does a very good show. She knows what she's talking about. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of chats I want to read out before I get your say on Dan on the do you think we will regret selling Harry Kane at any point? Bentancur returning is vital for us. I'm surprised he even went in for a tackle. That is the problem. It's not the recovery from the injury, it's the mental side, the trauma from it. You might have to change the way he plays. I never usually judge a man until after 13 games personally, but it's night and day from Ange to Conte. It certainly is. 13 games is a very definitive number there, Daryl. You're in a title race. Wayne, I kept this up for quite a while because it makes me happy when I see Arsenal fans say we're in a title race. Wayne Hennessy. It reminds me of, I swear I had a mate called Wayne Hennessy at school. Maybe that's him. Kane, it's not 17 goals WTP. I don't think he's been that good. I think it's 12. Regardless, it's amazing. Right.
Either way, smashing it.
Exactly.
Either way.
He corrected himself anyway. So yeah, do you think we'll regret selling Kane this season? Maybe in future seasons?
No, look, I've had this debate a few times. And I personally think we are better off without Harry Kane for more than one reason. I think that this club, for obvious reasons at one point, because we basically had nobody, it has been too reliant on Kane. We literally got to the point where we was Harry Kane Hotspur. The thing that I found really frustrating, yes, loved it that he was still banging in the goals and what him and Son done together was just as good as it gets basically at one point. But by the end of it, especially last season with Bentancur out and Son just playing abysmal, same as everyone else, I don't care whether it was an injury, whatever, he played crap last season, period. We were just so reliant on one person, and it seemed that every time we got the ball, as everyone done, don't worry, Kane will do it. Don't worry, Kane will save it. Don't worry, Kane will get it. And it got frustrating. Now that we haven't got Kane, like someone mentioned the other day on the show I was on, Levy's definitely had to pull his finger out because he can't just rely on Kane. The club can't just rely on Kane, nor can the players. And we've now had to build a team again, but we haven't just built it around Harry Kane. I don't think we've actually built this team around any particular player. Yes, Maddison is our main man for setting it up and everything. But Son weren't the idea to be the striker at first. We've now built this team up to play as a team. So that when Basuma gets the ball, he don't just look for Maddison. He looks for Kulusevski, Son, or sadly, he has to look at Richarlison, or he'll have a look at Sarr. He'll have a look. So will any other player on the pitch. Whereas if it was just Harry Kane still there, I still think we'd have the same problem of everybody just look for Harry Kane. Second point I'll go for. Seeing him and Maddison together could be epic. But I think them two might also have a bit of a problem together in playing this way. I don't think playing this way would have suited Harry Kane. Why? Because Harry Kane comes back a lot. And now everyone's going to tell me, yeah, but Son goes on the halfway line as well. Yeah, I know he does. But as soon as the ball goes over, he's legging it up towards it. Kane wouldn't have the pace to cover that ground. He wouldn't be able to get up there and hassle the keeper by the time the ball's got there. He'd still be halfway up the pitch. Because one thing Kane is not, he's quick. I ain't saying he's the slowest one out there, but he definitely ain't quick. He hasn't got the pace. Everyone keeps telling me this Ange ball, whatever they want to call it, revolves around pace. That's why certain players can't do it. Well, Harry Kane wasn't quick either. And if we want with Harry Kane in it to do what the whole team's doing, and that's come back and defend when it needs to, like we see Son in the middle and that, I don't think Kane would have the pace to get up the other end of the pitch. I just don't honestly think this style of football, the way the manager is playing it, would have suited him. The word I used for Kane was platinum handcuffs, basically. So I think it's better for him that he left. It's better for the club that he left. It, like you said, all-round winners at the end of the day.
Everyone's a winner. So far, everyone is a winner, as far as I'm concerned.
So far, so good is all you can say. We don't know what the future holds and that, but so far, so good. We've got nothing to complain about, really.
Now, I disagree with the Maddison and Kane thing. I think if they did play together, I think Kane was forced to come into the cam position because we had nobody else there since Eriksen left. So that's why
at times, yes.
That's why he took that mantle. However, if Kane came in, it would confuse matters because then Son would have to go back to the left. And I think we both can agree that Son wasn't very good at all last season. He was poor. He was snatching at chances on the left. So it sort of takes Son out of things. And that's not that you could, I suppose, still put Son on the left, but it would create an unbalance.
He's our striker. He's our striker now, through and through. Left foot, right foot. He's as good with either foot and that. He can score inside the box, out of the box. He can. The only thing the man can't do is head the ball, really. But you can't do it all. He's a striker now, through and through. And
do you know what it was last season? Kane didn't get many assists for us last season. The season before, he was top goal scorer and top assist maker in the league. He didn't get that many. He wasn't dropping as deep for Son. One of the reasons I don't think Son scored so many goals. So now with Maddison in that cam position, supplying Son, Son getting on the end of it is a magic made in is a move made in heaven for both of them. He had very little support, Son and Kane last season. I think Kane getting as many goals as he did last season was incredible. There was no Maddison. Porro had only just arrived. He wasn't even getting first team when he arrived. It was Emerson mostly.
It was shocking. It was surprising that he got that.
He wasn't there. The Doggy wasn't there, was he? Bissouma was injured. Bentancur was injured for the final part of the season. So we had very, very little.
We had Højbjerg and Skip in midfield, for God's sake.
For
how he managed to pull that off, I will never know. Yeah, he saved our bacon last year. No two ways about it. But again, I just don't think this whole style of play would suit him down to a T. I really don't think it would. Because I can't see Kane just playing a game and wanting to stay forward as a target man. He don't do it at Munich. And he don't do it for England. He don't do it at Spurs. I just don't think this style would have suited him because Kane, he's never really been one for pressing it through and through from when it's deep because he just ain't got the pace to do it, whereas Son has. That's why I just don't think it would work. But who knows? It's all with buts and maybes at the end of the day.
We're never going to know, are we? The reality is we're never really going to know. I suppose we may know what happens with Maddison and Kane with England, but it's not going to happen. Not with Bellingham there. As good as Maddison is, I think Bellingham is he's just the best. He's like the best in the world. He's
but look, next England, we should be playing a 4-2-3-1. And Bellingham could quite nicely sit in midfield with Rice and then stick Maddison in front of him. And then you've got Grealish or Foden on the left, whatever you want. And then on the right, it's obviously going to be Saka up there. Now, you imagine that. Grealish or Foden, Maddison, Saka, Kane in front. And if Kane just gets told to stay forward and he stays forward and that, he'll have the ball coming at him from all angles. But again, we've got a very negative manager for England, Southgate, old shark face. He just don't. He's just another Conte, and he's all he wants to do.
Do you know what about Southgate though? As a footballer, he would have been perfect in 2023. He was underrated late 90s, 2000s. He was still going for £6 million, £7 million.
He was a good defender. He was.
Alex Ferguson said he wished he signed him. He wished he signed Southgate. He is the modern centre back. He's a ball playing centre back. No, he had that famous miss and a penalty spot, but he was not a penalty taker. But as a manager, I don't know how he's gone from being sacked from Middlesbrough to being England manager. I suppose we went up the levels, under 19s, under 21s. That's what we wanted to do. And to be fair, we've done extremely well in tournaments. But his time was at an end at the World Cup. I think everyone knew he was going to go. I can't believe he's still there as manager. He's got lots
basically, Tom, you can look at you can look at Southgate the same way you can look at Poch. Now, Southgate has achieved nothing with England. Nothing. He ain't got nothing. He ain't won nothing. But what he has managed to do is get us playing some of the best football we have done, and he's also got us to a semi-final and a final. But when it comes to the crunch, it's got. I mean, that game against Italy, when we went 1-0 up, we should have gone all guns blazing at them and gunned them down, and we could have, because they just did not have the pace for us. But no, he decided, right, 1-0 up, we'll take it now and go defensive and that. And there you go. It all went tits up in the end. And penalties, it's just England. We was never going to do it. Also, he's had one of, if not the best England side ever, bar 66 sort of thing. And he's got it there on a plate, basically. And the strongest bit of that England team is the attack. Yet he decides to sit back for the defence more and still picks Harry Maguire. And yeah, the list goes on. Poch, he got us playing some of the best football we've ever played. Ever. And he also had a very solid team at one point, especially first 11.
Brilliant as well. We did have a top defence as well.
Exactly. I mean, what? Rose, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Walker. That was as solid as a defence has been. That was one of the best defences the Premiership has seen. Not the best, not at all, but one of. It's up there. And he got us to a Champions League final. He got us here. He got us there. But at the end of the day, what did he do? Nothing. Didn't win nothing at the end of the day. And that's going back to Harry Kane, isn't it? He hasn't won nothing yet. So it's neither here nor there, really, is it? How much Southgate's got us to finals and that, because he still ain't won nothing. That's why I relate him to Poch at Spurs.
It's very true. Kane's so unlucky because he should have won trophies with England. He should have won trophies with us, 15, 16, 16, 17, when we were one of the best teams in the league. But Kane's been very, very unlucky. I think the minimum is he's going to win the Bundesliga. But back on the whole regret side of things, I don't think we'll regret selling. It's difficult. I think there will come a point in this season, if Son or Maddison gets injured, then we'll sort of look at it and be like, yeah, we sort of regret it. But it was always going to happen. It was always on the cards. I think it was regretful we had to sell him, but we did have to sell him. He was coming to the last year of his contract. Bayern Munich wanted him. He wanted to win things. So, yeah, everybody's got to move on. We just need to make sure Maddison and Son stay fit, because I look at this squad and I think Son's out. Who are you putting in? Richarlison and Veliz. Maddison out. Who are you putting in? Lo Celso. Kulusevski there, but then who are you putting on the right? It's not good. It's not good. Nowhere near the same level as both players.
Well, you say that, yeah. You say that. I get it's not on the same level with that, yeah. But say Maddison gets injured, right, and everyone else is playing. Everyone else is up there still. Easy on that one for me. I can't stick Kulusevski there because he has got imagination on him. It's just when he's out on the wing, I just feel he's so tight on his left foot that he can't do anything but his left foot. Whereas if he's sitting behind a striker, he's got more option of where he can pass the ball. He hasn't, with his left foot, he hasn't specifically got to get down the side, knock it onto his left foot to try and get a shot or cross. So you go and stick him there. You go stick Ben Johnson on the right, and then, I don't know, go and hire Mickey Mouse for a day and put him on the left or something instead of Richarlison. But if worst comes to worst, you can stick Richarlison there or Brian Gill. And I think it would cover for a couple of games. Same as if we lose Basuma and Bentancur still rolling in but not ready for a whole match. I feel Højbjerg's good enough to cover a game or two, depending who we're playing as well.
Certainly. I wouldn't have been annoyed.
That's the way I'd do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the way I'd do it anyway.
And we're going to have to use them because Basuma and Sarr, they're out on African Cup of Nations, so we're going to have to trust. We're going to have to trust Højbjerg at some stage. And
I mean, Lo Celso, he's got no match time. So it's all good saying he's an attacking midfielder and that, yeah, whatever. But he's got no match time.
This is the positive.
5 minutes.
These are the positives and negatives of not having cup competitions. You have less cup competitions. You get your fitness levels are better for the first team. 1 game a week usually, and it's served us well. I do think going out of the Carabao Cup is a blessing for us. But as you say, the players coming in, they don't have the legs. They don't have the first team minutes. Dyer's shocking as it is. Imagine if he comes in now, Romero van der Ven get injured. He hasn't got a match time. He hasn't got fitness, and he's fucking shocking, and everyone knows he's shocking. It's absolutely, yeah.
These days, we all know you can be anything you want on any day. So a day he plays, I think he should just say, do you know what? Today I want to be a lamppost and act like a lamppost, and I think you'd do all right in defence. And I don't know, Richarlison could come out and decide to be a donkey today, so maybe he'd do better up there as well. Who knows?
But somebody already put in the chat, I think it was Louis put in the chat, what if Vicario gets injured, when we was talking about Vicario? And I picked 4 players out here, and a lack of depth in this team. Son, Maddison, Romero, Vicario. Imagine those 4 not there. Not Vicario so much because he's a key player. He's not as key. He's not out on pitch player. But well, I'd say that, but then he saved many points for us. But okay, let's say Vicario, Romero, Maddison, Son are out. Udogie as well. We've seen what we like without Udogie. Davies, we put him out off at half time and put fucking Emerson Royal, who's equally as useless in many ways, especially at left back. This team lacks depth. Sounds negative.
Badly.
Sounds negative, but we have been very, very fortunate with injuries. We've lost Perisic. Good player, but he was never going to be starting 11 every game, was he? Solomon, rotation option. Bentancur, we knew he was injured. We knew he was injured for the first 3 or 4 months. Sessegnon's a nothing player, really. Gil, we knew he had hip surgery in the summer. So we haven't been hit by any first-team injuries. Starting 11 injuries. No one.
Well, we have. But up front is where we've had a knock or two, and that's where we've actually had a little bit of cover up there. But apart from that, I agree with everything you say. If something happens in defence or midfield, we are absolutely screwed.
That first team we're rolling out every week, there hasn't been an injury. The only one we missed was Bissouma. Well, Udogie missed last game.
Or Johnson.
Bissouma for his ban. That was it.
Johnson. Yeah. Because I think if Johnson would have been fit, he'd have played every game instead of Richarlison. I think you can see it on Ange's face.
Hope so. No, you certainly would hope so. But
there's a few times that I've seen it on the TV.
I think Ange.
I don't think he does because there's been a few times where Richie, as usual, has fucked it up, and it goes straight to Ange, and you just see him sort of roll his eyes. Now, all right, off other managers and that, you'd see him going schizo. But where he's a very cool, calm, calculated person, basically, he just sort of rolls his eyes and just thinks, you prick, get on with it. I don't think Richie is his first choice there. If he is, then I've got issues with the bloke. But I would love, do you know what? I'll offer someone out on here. I'd love someone to come on here, 2 people, 3 people, all at the same time, whatever, I don't care. And have it out with me about Richarlison and why he should stay. Because I know there's a fair few people out there who go on a fair few shows who say Richarlison should stay.
There's a few,
No.
Dan. The problem is, I think they're quite young, and I don't think they'll be able to handle you. So maybe I don't think we'll be great at debating. And these guys are YouTubers, but there's got to be 1 or 2. There's got to be 1 or 2 that stick.
There's a few I've seen on a few. On a few places that keep saying no.
We'll have to find them.
Does this?
We'll have to find them for a Sunday show or a Tuesday show. That's where we have the guests. We'll get a Richie fan in here. Even Thiago. Thiago's Brazilian. Richarlison's first team for Brazil, but he just doesn't rate him at all. He slags him off more than us two. So it's very, very difficult to find the Richarlison fans.
Mate, we say it every time. He's just shocking. I mean, all right, if you put it. All of his goals, all 4 of his goals, by his cost, has cost us nearly 15 million a goal. Basically, is what we paid. The man is shocking. Get rid of him in January, and we'll leave it at that.
Right. On to the final part of the show. We've got to mention Chelsea because obviously they lost on the weekend. They've got our ex-manager that we've mentioned loads of times in this show, and of course, it's our next Premier League fixture next Monday. These fixtures are shocking. Monday Night Football 8 p.m. Fulham 8 p.m. And then back to Monday Night Football in a week and a half, 8 p.m. Chelsea. Crazy. But look, many fans wanted Poch back in the summer. Many fans.
I wouldn't have said no. I'll admit it. I was
going to ask. I can't remember. We've done so many shows. But were you one of the fans that wanted him?
I weren't one of the ones screaming, get Poch back. But do you know what? If we'd have done it, I wouldn't have complained. But we're all glad we went elsewhere. But again, there's that other thing. It's basically like having that relationship with a missus and it just don't work. And then 2 years later, you've both got on with your lives and both your other relationships you've had have fallen apart, and you think, "Do you know what? Let's give it a go again." It ain't gonna work. So
Never
but
return to the scene of a crime.
there you go. Yeah. But I wouldn't have complained if we'd have got him back, because there was a lack of choices out there at one point. So, but obviously I'm glad we didn't.
I can safely say there's a lot of fellow fans, fellow YouTubers that were praying for his return.
Yes, yes,
And
there was.
I don't knock him. I don't knock him. You know,
Each
we
their
played
own.
the best brand of football. We did, I think, so far in the Premier League, at least. There were loads in the chat every day. I was never, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I was never, ever one of them. I was always against Pochettino. Whenever we lost a manager or a manager was rumoured to be going, the first thing we'd see, time and time again, as YouTubers, I'd see him doing short videos on Poch and why we should get him back, this, that, and the other. That bridge was broken. The bridge was broken when he sacked him, when Levy sacked him, after, you know, in and around the time we went 500 days without signing. He didn't support Poch.
It's done and dusted.
That's it. It's too soppy. We're too soppy with ex-managers, XP. Where they love us, this, that, and the other.
We're too soppy with players.
Some people love football. Pochettino celebrated wins because he loves winning. All managers and footballers celebrate winning. But celebrate winning doesn't mean they love the club.
Look, yeah, Tom. Look,
and it's clear he doesn't. He's gone to our rivals. Good luck to him. Not good luck to him. Not against us anyway. But
poor luck to him. End of. He's at Chelsea. I hope he has bad luck, and I hope he gets the sack in the next 3 months because they're doing so piss poor. He's at Chelsea.
Absolutely.
He's an enemy.
But I'm just talking about on the personal side of things. Just
I get you.
Moving on from Spurs. I don't care where he goes really, but he obviously didn't love us, as some people say, because he's gone to Chelsea. So
look, as a club, definitely as a fan base, again, as a fan base as a whole, I'd say we are in the top 3 worst out there, along with Arsenal and Liverpool fans. We are shocking in general as a fan base on how quick we turn on someone or how many chances we give someone. Spurs are known for, do you know what? Give Ndombele another chance. He has got skill. He might come good.
And that's what you didn't mention, Dan. I was about to say you didn't mention not just how quick they turn on players, but how quick they praise players. 1 performance, 2 performances.
You know, give him another chance. And Ange might want him there, and this might want him. I don't care. If Ange has done his homework before he gets to a club like a manager does, he'll have seen how piss poor Ndombele does, and he'd have wanted him out. I mean, like I said, the man, he might as well just sit down and eat a Big Mac out there. He's that lazy. And he's been terrible for 5 years. Other players that ain't been doing it and that. And Spurs fan base in general term. Yeah, but give him another chance. It might come good this year. No, we are not ruthless enough. End of. At Chelsea, he would have had a season and been gone. The only other club that's really being like that these days is Man United. I find these days are getting very sentimental with their players. But we're too sentimental with our players. We are not ruthless enough. All right, you don't have to turn on them after 1 or 2 games, but when they've had 10, like Richarlison, when he's had a season and a season and a quarter now, he's been absolutely shocking. He might have stood out in 1 or 2 games, and you paid 60 mil for him. You got to turn on him, and you got to say this man's got to go. Not
and so
he puts the effort in.
I sort of was. I don't think I could. It'd be very difficult for me to boo a player during a game, but Sanchez did. We know last season he came on as a sub. He got booed, and he went off 10 minutes later because he got booed and he couldn't handle it, and the fans just completely turned against him. And he left. He went. So at the end of the day, we got rid of an average player. We got rid of a below average player because we booed him. Nuno was shocking. First 10, 11 games, he was absolutely terrible. I was there for the Man United game when we lost 3-0. Levy out. It's the first time I've ever heard Levy out in a stadium, even from the TV. People say they could hear it. It was reverberating their TV, vibrating their TV. Yeah. Next day, he made the quickest decision he ever made, Levy, on a manager. He was sacked. Got Conte in. Did he, whatever Conte did, whatever it didn't do, 6 months earlier won a Scudetto with Inter Milan. So he was the top manager at the time. If you put pressure on owners, if you put pressure on players, you could get the players out if they're not good enough, and you could get the owners to make big decisions. And I saw it with West Ham. West Ham was a perfect example. They were going nowhere. For the Premier League era, they were They'll go nowhere. They put pressure on the owner, David Sullivan. Yeah, David Sullivan. They were throwing bottles at him. They were sick chanting, we need some more money. You're not putting the money back into the team. Their wage budget went up. Their transfer budget went up, and they started competing for top 4, top 5, top 6. They won a Conference League last season, won a European trophy. So if you put pressure on the owners, it works. It works. I've seen it time and time again. Man United,
Yeah.
you know what? The fans are good, the Man United fans, because they will get the Glazers out. They're good. They will get them out. And I tell you now, they protested at the start of the season. They protested because they didn't like the fucking designs of their home shirts.
I know, but they won't get them Glazers out, mate. They won't do it until
they're trying their best. They are trying their best.
Exactly. And we don't. They are more ruthless than us. I get it. Yeah?
What happened at Old Trafford? Biggest game of the season.
I know.
They broke in. They stabbed a few people. It's not good.
Just a couple.
It's not great.
Yeah, but look at it.
At least
so what did the Glazers do? The Glazers turned around and done like the sort of trick that Levy would pull, because them two are very similar, Glazers and Levy. I think we both got the same problems there, because Levy has actually spent a bit of money, but it just seems everything we seem to buy, bar this lot, have been pretty shit in general. They basically done the thing of pull the blindfold over the fans. Yep, we're selling up. Yeah, we're selling up. The main bloke comes in, offers what, 6-7 billion for the club and everything. Oh no, we're not accepting that. And they go and accept someone who wants 25% of the club. There you go. We sold a bit of the club. Shut up. It kept all the fans quiet over the transfer and everything else and all that. Maybe they weren't going to buy so many because they was leaving. It kept the fans quiet. And now the season started. It's like, oh, well, we've accepted 25% of this fella. We ain't going nowhere, mate. Man, you ain't getting them Glazers out until they want to leave. Same as we ain't getting Levy out until Lewis gets put in prison or until he decides to sell up the club. It
does look like they're going to get him out, Glazers. They're going to get him out. But as you say, it's on their terms. It's on their terms, isn't it? Because that Sir Jim Ratcliffe I think he's taking over for 20-30%, and then down the line, he'll take over fully. That's what they're saying. But
it's only going to be when the Glazers are ready to leave, not when the Man U fans, because the Man U fans would have had him out a couple of years ago, and they've been trying, and they've still got nowhere fast at the end of the day. And them Glazers ain't leaving, just like Levy, basically, not unless something major happens.
Now, let's look at the league table. Chelsea, 11th, 12 points. Spurs, 26 points. 14 points difference. 10 games in with 14 points in front of Chelsea is incredible. So next Monday, Dan, people in the chat, is a guaranteed 3 points, right?
No, not a chance. Chelsea is probably who we have the worst record against. And then the other thing is with this, it's a big London derby. How you're playing and what you're doing, the way I see it, it goes out the window. It's a battle on that day.
This is a big London derby. We've got Fulham and Palace.
Of course it is. It always is. Chelsea and Arsenal is a massive London derby. And how you're doing goes out the window. It all comes down to that day. And it's happened many a time. Same as it happens with Man U and Liverpool and Everton, Man U and Man City, whatever. All the big derbies, how they're going, how they're doing, goes out the window, basically. And it just goes down to purely on that game. Chelsea, we have a very poor record.
Home and away.
End of. That's why I didn't say home or away. We just have a piss poor record with Chelsea. Yeah. They are our bogey team through and through. And I'm glad they lost, because that definitely kicked the momentum out of them, because they were starting to get their shit together. But this is going to be one of them games where it could easily be win, lose or draw. Because it's one of those games where it is blatantly on the day. I know you can say that about any game, but on the derbies, it can be anywhere, anytime.
Imagine if we win, we'll be 17 points clear of them. We'll be nearly 20 points clear of them in 11 games. That's just insanity.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, yeah, they've had their injuries, but I tell you what, they started playing well. They've got a few games together, run of games, run of victories. And I look at their midfield. I think their centre midfield quartet is very good. I like the early signs of Palmer.
Enzo.
I think he looks very, very good. Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez looks like a baller. Gallagher's probably been their best player so far, and he's their captain. And who's the other? Sassillo. You would imagine down the line, Sassillo would be good.
You know what I'd say with Chelsea? Chuck as many shots at them as you can from all angles. Even if you get Richarlison, put it like 20 yards over the top as he usually does. Chuck all your guns on their attack, on their defense. Every time you get a chance, just shoot. Just shoot. Even from the halfway line, I don't care. Because their liability is their goalkeeper. That is their biggest liability. The fact the team ain't playing too well together, I mean, like you say, they've had about 13 injuries on the trot on that, and Poch don't even know his first 11 yet. But it seemed like they was getting their shit together. But their goalkeeper is their liability. Chuck as many shots at him as you can. Get him shady. Get him a bit nervous. As long as they get on target or close to it, and that he's going to start getting more nervous. That is their liability, their goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's had a couple of absolute stinkers. They were 2-0 up against Arsenal. They should have got 3 points against Arsenal. So they're no mugs. They're no mugs. But also 11 goals. They've only conceded 11 goals. We've conceded 9, so they've only conceded 2 less than us. 14 points behind us, but only conceded 2 less.
But they haven't been scoring.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
their thing.
That's their biggest issue. Both ends of the pitch, both definitive ends of the pitch, goalkeeper and up top. They only signed Nicholas Jackson. And I look at Arsenal's squad. Okay, Nketiah scored a hat-trick. But when they went into the season with just Nketiah as their main striker and Chelsea with Nicholas Jackson, I think they're trying a few other options there. I'm happy with I wasn't worried about Chelsea and Arsenal as much as I could have been going into the season.
Yeah.
They will change that. I guarantee January, Osimhen will go because Napoli have fucked him up big time. They've fucked him over on social media and stuff. He's going to go.
Yeah, I've heard a few stories of what's happened over there with that fella. He's had his family put, like, he's got bodyguards outside his house or something, isn't he? Because they threatened to go around and shoot up the family and the fans.
But it wasn't even his fault. On the Insta stories and TikTok, this, that, and the other, they took the piss out of him. The Napoli social media team, every club's got a social media team.
Yeah,
like, made fun of him missing a penalty for Napoli, like real fun of him on the stories and stuff. And they put this coconut emoji of him, like, oh man, like, you can't be doing this. You can't be doing this in 2023. January, he's gone because I think he's got 2.5 years left on his contract. They're not going to risk it. So Chelsea, I think he's going to be Arsenal or Chelsea bound, I'd imagine. Man United should have signed him instead of Højlund. I would have signed Osimhen all day long.
I was surprised Man U didn't go for Kane, tell the truth.
Well, there you go. Man United have had an absolute shocker. They've been shocking transfer.
They've had really bad transfers. I mean, that Onana, I wouldn't have minded him coming to Spurs. He'd have been one of my first choice keepers because when he was at Ajax, he was excellent. But I know that's a smaller league than that. Then he had his ban. But at Inter the season before, I follow Inter, he was good. And in that Champions League final, he was good. He seems to have come over here and he's just fallen to pieces, basically. Dodgy as a keeper can. But, oh, sorry, I forgot. He saved a penalty the other day. Well done, fella. But apart from that, he has just, I mean, today, his hands seem to have gone to jelly. The keeper used to be solid. All of a sudden, he's fallen to pieces over here. He's got to be one of the worst signings.
The biggest issue was that he was very good at Ajax, and we can say Eredivisie is not a big league. I'll tell you what it is now. PSV finals, smashing it. Slots finals, smashing it. So it is
Ajax are fighting relegation.
Ajax are in big trouble. They're in big trouble.
Yeah.
But it's not just the Eredivisie.
He was solid.
You've got to look at what they do in the Champions League. You got to look at what they do in the Champions League. And in the Champions League, they've been very, very good over the last 4 or 5 years. Getting in semi-finals, they should have got into the fight. They probably should have beat us. It was very, very close, wasn't it? Them beating us. They produced some great players over the last 5-6 years. The last 30 years, they always produce the best players. So they're a big club. Ajax are a big club. He comes from there, but having got the ban, £51 million for a player that's just had one season after his ban is a lot of money. I think they should have, 51 million is too much. Too much as far as I'm concerned. In the market, in a current transfer market.
But that season he just had at Inter, you'd have thought he was worth it because Onana was excellent at Inter. He really was. And in that Champions League final, he was quality against City. But like I said, he's just fallen to shit, mate. He's gone to pieces, which obviously I'm happy with because he's at Man U. And I find it quite amusing because I still remember the days when Man U had it so far stuck up their own arse they could taste yesterday's dinner. And it is nice when you see them fall to pieces. But that's just from another opinion.
Right, I'm telling you, boys, something dodgy is coming with the Chelsea game.
Oh,
Ashraf,
don't say that.
yeah,
Don't
dodgy
say that,
lasagna
mate. Lewis, don't say that, fella. Just don't.
would be the Spursiest moment to lose to this Chelsea side. But they're no Louis, they're no mugs. They're no real mugs, you know. We
No.
should beat them. Losing 2-0 at Brentford at home, I think, is a little bit of a anomaly for them. I don't think we'll lose next Monday. It sort of has got draw written all over a bit.
We're at home, aren't we?
We're at home, yeah. That's why I was trying to get tickets, but
Yeah.
it's fucking impossible.
No, mate, at the moment, you ain't getting tickets for Spurs unless you're up there on the gold
You
list.
certainly
basically.
ain't for Poch's return at Stamford, at White Hart Lane.
No. I think with that one, you're going to see... I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs. And I think it is going to be a very physical game. And also, you're going to, I reckon, going to see a red card in that game. I don't know what side, but you will see a red card in that game. And yeah, 2-1. But I think it's going to be nervous as well, sort of thing. It's going to be a good game. Because one other thing, Tom, if they lose this game, and we're all known as 3-point Hotspur to them and everything, if they lose this game against us, where they've got the best record, and also the ex-manager and everything else, if they lose this game against us, Poch is on his last legs. I mean, he's already lost more than half the fan base. Chelsea have got... Poch has got so much pressure on him for this game. We haven't, really. We're at the top. Ange, it's his first season. He don't really give a shit whether it's Chelsea, Arsenal, Man U, Man City, Brentford, whatever. He just wants to win. None of it's any personal. It's football. He wants to win. With Poch, this one's slightly personal. Chelsea and Spurs, it's personal. All the pressure's on Chelsea as far as I'm concerned, apart from the fact that we're at home and we're doing good. If they go and lose this one, mate,
all the pressure's on Poch because they started to pick it up. They started to pick things up, but 2-0 at home to Brentford, who don't have Ivan Toney.
And then they go and lose to Spurs. That's Poch nearly finished. So much pressure on them. So the pressure's on them.
Pochettino would do very, very well to keep that job by the end of the season, I think.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm surprised they ain't already been looking at having him out now. Because I think the thing that saved him a bit is the amount of injuries they've had. Because, to be honest, I mean, at one stage, I think it was 15 injuries and about 8 of them was what you would call in the first 11. I mean, Reece James, for me, don't even count as an injury because he spends half the season crippled as it is. He's just got Weetabix for legs. He's terrible. But he's an excellent player. But they've had so many injuries. Pressure's on them as far as I'm concerned.
The turnover of players. I felt very sorry for Tuchel. I felt very sorry for Potter. I don't know what they were doing with Tuchel. Let him have the transfer window, then sacked him. Brought Potter in an impossible position. He had 30 new players, basically. This season, they got rid of 19, and then they've had all these injuries. So I think you get a little bit of time because of that. Still, I wouldn't be betting any money that Poch would last the season at Stamford Bridge. I really don't.
And if he loses this game, Tom, he's on his thinnest bit of string ever.
They are 11th. They're 11th.
The fans have already half turned on him, and if like I said, if he loses to Spurs, that whole fan base will turn on him.
I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch the early kickoff, but you could see afterwards that the stadium, the seats there was no one in the seats, and he was getting some jeers.
I know a few Chelsea. Yeah, I know a few Chelsea supporters, mate, and that they already want him out. A lot of them, and like I said, if he loses to Spurs, where it's personal with clubs and it's personal between him and us, where he'll either be on his last string or they just cut it and he's gone.
Well, apparently Mourinho is going to be available soon, so maybe they can get Mourinho for like a fourth spell down at Chelsea.
Really? He's
who knows?
He's past his sell-by date. He's past his sell-by date, mate. He's been one of the greatest managers ever, no two ways about it, but he's past his sell-by date.
He was past his sell-by date at Man United. We should never have employed him, but that's a whole nother debate. Jay Ashraf, Chelsea will bust the gut and can see it ending a draw 2-2. I predicted 2-0. I very rarely get things right. Very rarely. But I predicted 2-0 against Fulham. I predicted 3-1 against Palace. I was wrong there. I think this is going to be... I think Chelsea will score a couple. I can see it being 3-2 Spurs. Honestly, I think I could see 2-2. I can see like a high-scoring game, 3-2. I really could.
2-1, 3-2, I could believe that. But either way, I think we will win this.
It's huge. Whatever happens, it's huge. Just the pre-game atmosphere. I wanted to go there more than anything. Forget being top after 10 games. This is the one I ticked off in my calendar. Arsenal and Chelsea before Christmas. It's going to be big. It's going to be huge. We've got a long way to wait. We've got this fucking 8 days. It's a ridiculous fixture list. It's pissing me off.
It's madness. What have they done with it? I know it all comes down to all this basically comes down to Sky, yeah? Because of when they want to show the games at. But the weird thing I've noticed is they're actually overlapping some of the big games with each other. It's weird. Just the way they've done it this year is just totally weird. Over the other years, it's all made sense, a lot of it. Like, yeah, they want to see the big games on the Sundays, whatever else. But they're having like 2 o'clock kickoffs and 3:30 kickoffs and things like that. They're overlapping games with each other. Whereas over here, you don't get to pick what game you want to watch. You just get the game on the TV. Whereas you go anywhere else in the world, you get to pick what game you want to watch. But they would still usually put it as a big game at 5:30 or something like that. So everyone can watch the big game. It's just been weird this year. Strange.
Right. I think we're going to wrap things up there, ladies and gents. As you can see, I'm a bit mucky. I'm a bit dirty because I'm straight back decorating after this. It was supposed to be a quick show. But people in the chat got talking, me and Dan. We love
Football's never quick, mate.
So, almost hour and 40 minutes. So thanks for being here, watching the show. If you're watching the recording, we get a lot of people watching the recorded version. Get in there, get in the comments. Tell us what you're thinking. And please make sure you smash a like and subscribe. We're on 34 likes. If we can get close to 40, it would be magnificent. Me and Dan, me certainly, will be back Tuesday. I'm sure Dan will join me. And we'll have a few guests on. We've been having Stell on for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So maybe Daigle too. So we're getting an interesting lineup on Tuesday. So make sure you join us for that. As I said, the easiest way to do that is to subscribe. So peace out, everyone. Stay classy, little whites. Top of the table. 26 points. Booyah.
Spurs.
In a bit.